This is a podcast from WOR.
This is the Page Publishing Book Club. How's it going? I'm your host, Alice Stockton Rossini. Rob Barrett is my engineer, and you're about to be inspired just by listening to this show. No doubt some people have more life experience to draw on than others when it comes to finding a topic for a book. And you can't do anything about that, but you will be amazed by what some people live through and live to tell about. I'll tell you, I was. J.J. Mays, our first author, she's a great example. Her book entitled Walk Until Sunrise details the odyssey she went on after she ran away from an unbearable situation at home when she was just 15 years old. J.J., you're lucky you survived.
That is true. Born in Minneapolis, raised in California. So the first half of the book just talks about the lead up, like why would one run away? And then the second half is when I actually took off. So I was actually in Ventura, California, and I just felt compelled. I really, literally was just on my way to my internship job at a TV station and just kept going. It wasn't planned or anything like that.
You just ran away?
I did. We were just my sister, myself, and my mother. And my mother clearly had mental issues that she wasn't willing to get help for. And she just made life difficult. And I think as a teenager, that I hit a point on that particular day.
Well, you say you were living, upper middle class in Minnesota to a Chevy Impala parked at the back of a Bay Area outlet.
Oh, yes. That was my mom, my sister, and I. Yep. She was like a child. Her husband at the time, who was not my father, we didn't know who our father was when we were little. He died of a heart attack. He was much older than her. Uh-huh. So she just suddenly had a ton of money and just went through it like within a month.
Oh.
So it was just like, we had a lot of fun. We were eating like kings every night. But then she just didn't have any money left, and so she decided to drive to California because it's warm there, and that's how we ended up living in the back of a car for about a month or so. It was rather intense. So then we moved from there to Ventura, but her problems got really out of control there. I was trying to pretend like everything was normal at school, and as a teenager, I just couldn't handle the kind of split lifestyle that was going on.
So you took off, and what happened to you?
Well, being a 15-year-old kind of straight-A student, athletic type that thought they knew everything, I thought I could handle everything, So I would say I was just an easy target. I eventually ended up in Las Vegas, and horrible things happened. I really shouldn't be alive today. I will leave that as a mystery for people to read. Definitely there's a whole, underground kind of sex trafficking thing that goes on there, and it's not like, hey, I'm going to do this. People will drug you, and you don't know what's happening to you. So it was an awful story.
How did you pull yourself out of this?
This one lady felt sorry for me, and her job was to kind of keep me unable to move until they were going to come and use me. And then she felt sorry for me and would let the drug wear off and let me walk around. And then I basically begged her to let me go, and she drugged me one last time, and then when I woke up, she was gone, so she basically let me go. That's when I just decided I never want to deal with people again, so I walked over the Hoover Dam into Arizona and just decided that the desert was going to be where I was going to run away to.
What did you end up doing?
I'm a middle-aged woman with a master's degree from Northwestern. I teach voice, vocal coaching. I do music.
So you've somehow found yourself.
Yeah. I would say after the whole desert, I just realized, running away is not an option, so I need to figure out a way to deal with this. So I basically, long story short, just moved to Minneapolis, which is where I was from originally, and hooked up with a music school over there, found my way to therapy, and the most useful one was called EMDR, Eye Movement Desensitization Reprocessing. They use for people who suffered a lot of trauma, either from war or like tornado victims and rape victims and this kind of thing. And that stuff was incredible. That was really helpful. swallowed my pride and got my GED, and then went to Northeastern for undergrad, and then Northwestern much later in life. I was like almost 40 when I went back to college. It was just, I felt compelled to do it. It's my story. You can go through all that crap and come out okay, and come out perfectly sane, and have a good life. So I think it's important to tell that story, as bizarre as it is. But as awful as parts of it were, it's what made me who I am, and it is entertaining. I will say that.
Well, you know what? Just for the record, I want to say that I want to say to our listeners that I talked to JJ for almost a half hour. So you are just getting an inkling of her experiences, just a little teeny tiny taste. It is quite a story.